So what I'd like to spend a couple of minutes talking to you about is the history of brands and where we think at the Havas Media Lab brands might be going in the future. So let's step back in time for a moment to kind of the origin of these things that we now call brands. In the beginning, they were what we call functional brands. Functional brands were kind of like the sign that you see in front of every pharmacy today. And a functional brand's role was just to signal to people, to consumers, to say, here is where you can find something, a good product or a service that you've been looking for. It's a purely functional basis for a relationship. It's just a way to slash search costs and find something. Functional brands kind of dominated the dawn, or even predated the dawn, of the industrial age. And then as the industrial age progressed, we moved on to what we call aspirational brands. What we now associate today with kind of luxury goods, right? So an aspirational brand says, look at me, I've arrived, I've achieved something. Here's my status in society. Here's who I am. Here's who I want to be. And these are the things that we kind of associate with conspicuous consumption, right? So if you think about a luxury car or a luxury handbag, and I think for the last several decades, marketers have kind of gotten stuck. And we tend to think that aspirational brands are kind of the end of marketing, that there is no evolution beyond the aspirational brand. So here's a striking finding that we have found at the lab. The majority of people wouldn't care if 80% of brands disappeared tomorrow. It's kind of a stark repudiation of the idea of the much-loved aspirational brand. And what it tells us is that though people may aspire to consume and to own and to have, they are less attached and more indifferent than ever to brands. So the question is, what's next? In our research, what we have identified is kind of a next step for brands, beyond functional brands, beyond aspirational brands. It's what we call a meaningful brand. And a meaningful brand is a brand that matters to people in human terms. And what a meaningful brand does is it doesn't signal from consumer to consumer that I've arrived, that I'm somebody. Look at my level of consumption. Look at my income. Look at my status in society. A meaningful brand instead signals that a company is not harming society, is not harming nature, is not harming communities. At a minimum, that it's not doing harm. Because we can't have a meaningful impact on people if we're also doing harm. That's the first step. The second step is that a meaningful brand has a tangible positive impact on people's outcomes, on people's quality of life. It makes them authentically better off in terms that matter to them. It makes them smarter, it makes them fitter, makes them more intelligent, makes them better connected, it makes them more productive, it makes them financially, economically better off, any or all of these things. That's what a meaningful brand does. And it's a quantum leap beyond an aspirational brand. It says, I will meaningfully enhance your potential as a human, as a person. I will help you flourish and become better, meaningfully better than you were yesterday.